Well, hi all, this is Jeff. I want to do an update on my Buggy never-ending build project. My latest is I put a Yamaha Apex engine on it, and this was replacing the Weber 750 turbo that I had put on it. That was a great engine, but I just hate turbo lag, so I decided to go with this one with the Apex. But a couple things real quick, just go over the build. I redid the suspension on this, added about 9 inches of travel to the front just by remounting the shocks. Then I went with Fox Podium shocks. Things are great. Thing rides like you can't believe. I decided to convert all of the hubs to Polaris, and so it made the parts availability just great. I was able to go with a Polaris XP rack and pinion. And then I just built some adapters, as you can see here, to convert to the Polaris hubs with some Heim joints there, and then I just built those little adapters there. But anyway, that also allowed me to go with the Polaris wheels and tires, which is great. Again, readily available. The takeoffs, you can buy these things so cheap. I think I bought the whole set, tires and wheels, brand new, off a 2016 XP for $400. So worked out great. I went with the Polaris XP trailing arm. The only thing I needed to do was shorten it up to make it work for my application. I had built some trailing arms for the last build that really worked out well, but when I converted everything to Polaris, it was just a lot easier just to use what was already available. Again, Fox Podium shocks. The coolest thing here is the engine conversion that I did. I did Yamaha Apex. This is a 4-cylinder, 4-stroke 1000 out of a snowmobile. And that thing runs like you can't believe. 163 horsepower stock. And then I matched it up to a Polaris XP gearbox, as you can see there. And you can see the adapter that I built there. That was by far the most difficult part of this build, was building that adapter to match the two up, getting everything lined up perfectly, all that stuff. It was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. So you can see there, that is the manifold. I was looking for an exhaust, and the only thing I could find was a header, and I wanted to quiet it down, plus the header was over $1,000. So I actually just built that manifold, and I used scrap that I had in my shop already, so I am into that $0, and it worked out great. Brought it out. I started off with one muffler. It was still quite loud, so I looped it around and put another one on, and that quieted it down quite a bit. Suspension, rear suspension, I was shooting for 15 inches of travel, and actually ended up getting 18 inches of travel, so I was smiling from ear to ear on that one. But you can see there I went with Polaris axles, all of that. Those are actually super ATV axles, so they're aftermarket axles. They got a lot more articulation. Radiator is out of a junkyard. I got it off a Toyota Corolla for $50. That included the fans and everything. Cools it perfectly. Never had a problem with cooling. The electronics for the engine, I was able to actually use everything out of the snowmobile. It was the computer, everything, and then I was able to actually use the existing fuel pump that I already had. So you can see here, this is the fuel level sending unit. I just JB welded it, drilled a hole in the side of my fuel cell, JB welded it on there. Works great, no leaks. This is really cool, the Yamaha dash. That's right out of the snowmobile. I was able to just mount it. Everything converts over. There was some guys out of Arizona, Havasu City. The name of the company is Arizona Sand Sleds. If you're ever thinking about doing one of these conversions from the Apex to a Razor, these guys are absolutely awesome. They know everything there is to know about it. I would absolutely recommend them. Just very knowledgeable, but they not only know how to do the conversions, to convert or to mount the Apex to the XP gearbox, which I actually did my own. but I researched it, and these guys build the best one that I've been able to find. But not only that, they know how to convert the electronics, so you can run your speedometer, different things like that. The guys are just very knowledgeable. Anyway, Arizona Sand Sleds, and then I'll invoice them later for the plug. But anyway, no, those guys are great. So yeah, so that's an update on the build. This thing runs. It's exactly what I had in mind when I started this build. It's the Polaris gearbox gives me high and low range, so it'll not only go flying across the sand or down the roads, but if you get to a part where you have to crawl through some rocks, it'll just inch up through rocks just perfectly. So anyway, just an update. Have a great day.